Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video we're going to be concentrating on the new character event for Zack, and this is his EX fight Shining In Someday. Now before we get started, I would just like to let you guys know that this week and next week are going to be my night shift weeks again, and so unfortunately my night shift at the moment is towards the end of the week, so I'm getting this out to you guys as quick as I can. But next week we're going to be receiving, I believe, the lost chapter for Thancred, which actually falls on my first night shift. So the thing is, I think, well, most likely that video will come out late because I have 4 nights in a row, and since it just hits on the first night, I don't think I'll be able to edit. I wish I could edit it while sleeping, but unfortunately that is not happening. So I do plan to edit it out. Hopefully if I'm if I'm a little bit awake, I might edit small parts here and there of that video. And of course I still need to finish the fight actually, so there's that too. It could be a little bit harder than previous lost chapters, but hopefully not too much, so I can get it done, get the video out as soon as I can. So just to let you guys know that if you are going to be waiting for that lost chapter guide, that it is going to be a little bit later, maybe even it might even come out late in the week, like Sunday. I still actually working Sunday night, so for the American viewers out there it might hit on your Sunday, and for the Australian people it'll probably hit on Monday, which is gonna be next week. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say before we start, so let's get started with this video. And of course, let's start off with the boss, the target sniper's weaknesses and resistances. First off, it does have a weakness to thunder-based attacks. It doesn't have any particular resistance to anything else, which is kind of nice. As for its ability, the first one is the double machine gun, which is a range brave attack. Next is the smoke shot, which is a magic HP attack. Eraser machine gun, which is a range brave attack, which also removes all buffs, including the framed ones as well. Next up is the flamethrower, which is a fire magic brave attack, and it has missile as well, which is a range brave attack plus an HP attack. Of course, it has charge, which increases its brave based on its initial brave, and this also gives him an attack up and a speed up as well. Next up is enemy search, which uses a target lock-on on the next turn. Target lock-on basically directs party attention to the target, inflicting defense down as well. Next up, it has out of control, which raises its attack and speed. This only happens when the other boss dies or you kill it, and then this ability will automatically apply, and this doesn't have any frames or anything. It'll just be a straight up buff. Next up is the Matra Magic, which is a group magic brave attack plus HP attack. And finally, it has uncontrolled fire, which is a 9-hit range brave attack plus HP attack, and each brave attack damages randomly at any target as well. And now that we know these abilities, it's time for the general tips and guides. And then for you guys who are new to this channel or new to this video series that I do, and you just want to learn how to do an EX fight, first off is save about 90% of your abilities on the boss. Most people would like it ideally to have 100% of their abilities ready for the boss, but sometimes you do have to use your abilities in order to move on. Next up is obviously to bring in the boosted character or the synergy characters, and in this case it's Zack, Laguna, and Lale. Now, other characters that you might consider to bringing if you don't have Zack, Lale, or Laguna leveled up or don't have their weapons are Terra, Sephiroth, Cloud, and I put Edge and Celeste in there. Only the reason being is that target sniper actually has both melee or physical attack and magic based attack, and Edge works more on the physical side, and while Celeste works more on the magic side. Like Flamethrower, which is a fire brave attack, Celeste can eat that up, but unfortunately she won't be able to eat up some of the physical attacks. So it's up to you guys whether you want to bring Edge or Celeste, one or the other. It sort of works in a situation. Lightning, Furion, and of course the God Saz are the other options as well. And as for a healer, I do recommend bringing one, especially if you're not meeting the HP damage requirement. You have Lena, Aerith, and Aiko. Aiko is there, but unfortunately she does have a lower HP regen than Lena and Aerith. So if you do plan on having much more bulkier heal, Lena and Aerith are the ones to bring. And finally, for the summon, I do recommend bringing in Ifrith. Brothers is also useful. Ramu, you can take advantage of the boss's weakness, of course. And I put Alexander in there as well if you are rocking with a 3 DPS man team. Basically, when you get your HP reduced to a certain amount, you do get an HP regen of 15% for 3 turns, which should be enough to recover the HP that you need in order for you to meet the HP damage requirement. Now, the next couple of tips here is going to be about the fight itself. Now, I have been trying to make it more consistent, where I talk about the first bit is just the general tips, and the next set of tips is hopefully going to be a lot of the fight itself, you know. But sometimes there's just not much to talk about, so I'm sorry if that it's a little bit inconsistent, but I am going to be trying to do this a little bit more often. Now, the first one is to immediately use your summon just before the bosses uses their charge. The advantage of this is you actually get a lot more points, I do believe, when you use your summon a little bit earlier. Plus, you do get a lot more HP damage at the start of the fight when they are not buffed. Now, the other option is to obviously summon when you see the ult attack in order for you to avoid getting HP damage, because all the ult attacks for the target sniper include a brave plus HP attack. So it's actually nice for you to use your summon when you see that ult attack and, you know, avoid that HP damage and hopefully kill that particular boss before it does the ult attack. And in the next tip is going to be still about the ult attack, and if you can't avoid it, just make sure you do have enough brave so you don't get broken, which can lead to a lot more HP damage. So if you don't have any summons anymore and you know it's all attacking, you got a couple of turns, make sure you have as much as brave as you can, because they do hit quite hard, especially with the buffs. And when it's by itself, man, it hits like a truck. Now, the next tip is to use the provoking skills to get rid of lock-on. Now, this seems to be a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Obvious. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a little bit obvious since this is Zack's event, and he's sort of tankish and he has provoking skills, hence why I suggested bringing in other tanks as well. Now, for the final tip is the strategy revolving around how to beat this bosses. It's either kill them one by one, or you lower both the boss's HP. Honestly, either one works. I've had it one way or the other. The advantage of lowering their HP at the same time is basically you avoid out of control, which they will start dealing a lot of damage. And I noticed that they do a lot of the all attacks quite more often when they are out of control. Usually by like every third turn they would use the all attack, which means most likely that you will be dead, especially if you don't have any HP regen. And of course, the advantage of killing one by one is you only have to deal with one, and especially if you have a strong DPS team, you can keep breaking the boss even though it breaks you. You can probably get away with one all attack, but you will have to kill it before the second all attack. So I'll leave it to you guys which one you like. Personally, I like the both HP down, when I usually like to kill one of them. If you guys are pretty old in this channel, you notice that I really like to kill one of them and, you know, just concentrate on the other, even though they get buffed. But in this particular case, I kind of find it it was a little bit easier when I put their HP about the same and then had to deal with them, you know, when I need to, especially when I see that all attack. Now for the possible party compositions. I'm kind of losing my voice here. The first one is obviously the synergy characters. If you guys go ham on this banner, then you go ahead and use that. Zack is there to provoke, Laguna is there to break, Lil there is to chase. That is the strategy. And you can bring Saz, Terra, or Kefka for this particular support, for this particular team as your support. And of course you have Ifrit as your summon. Kefka is there basically so you can avoid the HP attacks, especially when they're in all attack. That can cancel that, I believe, since it is considered as an HP attack. Saz is there for boss if you want it, more damage the better. And Terra is obviously Terra, and she's gonna wreck through everything. Now the next team that I have here is quite interchangeable. I have here Terra, Saz, and Lina. This is basically my team in order to get the HP damage requirement. And it has a Terra support and obviously an Ifrit summon. Now the other version of this is the Terra, Saz, and Sephiroth, which doesn't have any healing there, but you can use Alexander as your summon. The advantage of Alexander as your summon is when you get below 50%, I do believe, you do get the 15% HP regen for 3 turns, which should be enough to beat the boss. Hopefully, if you have max limit break both Saz and Sephiroth, and obviously Terra, this will work to your advantage. Now the other version for this is basically without Saz. It is the Terra, Sephiroth, Lina combination, which is kind of like the second team that I have here, which is the Terra, Saz, Lina. The only difference is obviously you do get a little bit more punch with Sephiroth, and you know, with Lina you do get the healing as well, and for this one you do get the Ifrit summon. Now these are the 4 that I went with, but there is still the good old trio or Trinity, which is the tank DPS healer combination. Like I said, you know, you can add Edge there, or you can add Galuf as well, can probably work with his cover, and you have Celeste as well as one of the tanks. Honestly, any tank you can get can work. Zack is there as well, and then you got your healers, which are the ones that I mentioned earlier, and of course 1 DPS for your team. That is the Trinity. My only advice for the Trinity is you do have to have a very good DPS character, and It's either gonna be Terra or, you know, the boosted characters. I suppose Cloud can be there as well. You do get the paralyzed thing if you're lucky enough, but you have to make sure you have a very good DPS if you are trying to aim for the Trinity composition. So that's it for the main guide. So the final thing, I guess my final thoughts of this fight just sort of reminded me of the Sid fight. Now I know I didn't make a video out of that, but the feeling is quite the same. Obviously we didn't have these 60 characters awakening yet at that time, I do believe, if I remember correctly. So it's a little bit easier now, especially if you do have Terra. Honestly, you guys would be doing yourself a disservice for not using Terra. And of course, if you do have Saz, will make things a lot more easier, especially you can buff your other character. While Terra doesn't need it, your other character may need Saz's buffs. So anyway guys, that's it for this video. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I'd like to hear from you guys. What sort of strategies did you use? Did you use a different strategy from the ones that I mentioned? And of course, I would like to know your team that you use, and I'm hoping that I can try those different teams out as well. And I do want to say thank you for the over 20 likes in the last video, and hopefully we get, how about we aim for 25 likes for this video this time around. Yeah, and this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.